recipes. So in some categories, it's hard for me to part with things. For example, I have this binder that I used to store the recipes from different Blue Apron weeks back when I was gifted a subscription. I was gifted a subscription to the vegetarian version of Blue Apron for like 4 months or 6 months. I think at that point I was definitely vegetarian, but I think I was transitioning into veganism. So some of the recipes had to be adapted, or else I don't really know. I don't really know what I was doing in my diet at that point. I wasn't at an age where I was doing a lot of like responsible cooking, like food prep. So being an organized person, I kept all the recipes, not really because I had much expectation of ever using them again, but just because it's the organized thing to do. I guess the most organized thing to do would have been just disposing of the recipes, knowing that I was never going to use them. But the second most organized thing, which better suited my MO at the time, my lifelong MO really, was to catalog the recipes. And I think over the years, I did go back through and pull out the recipes that weren't vegan or weren't easily adjusted to be vegan. But the person with whom I was living at the time was 10 years older, and their sister gifted them this food subscription service, this meal prep service. So we would make the meals together, even though I was definitely not at a time in my life where I cared much about, I don't know, cooking. And I think it was still aspirational for me at that point, like maybe when I'm all grown up as a person, like all emotionally matured, I will cook more. Flash forward to now, and I've actually worked as an in-home cook, and I know about myself that I don't love to cook, so it's definitely time to part ways with the contents of this binder. Yeah, I love to hold on to things so that I am prepared for any eventuality, but the truth is that even when I do cook, it's not really, like I don't pull out recipes that I already have. I either am working with some constraints, like I'm trying to find recipes that can be made from what I already have in my fridge, or I already have something in mind for which I have a hankering, or if I have nothing specific in mind and no constraints in terms of maybe it's time to buy new groceries and I can build the list based off whatever recipes I do find, well then why wouldn't I just go online and find something, I don't know, something super spontaneous, something I've never tried before. So I just think recipes that you get in subscriptions are kind of hit or miss. So the odds that they're going to become favorites that you repeat all the time, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Like, I'm sure these services are invaluable for people who are who want an introduction to cooking, and I don't know, have different needs they're trying to meet. So forget everything I just said. But anyway, yes, the time has come to part ways with these old recipe cards, to just recycle them. I liked the aesthetic of them. Some things feel like an act of cleanliness to get them all together and organize them nicely, but it's a trick, because the real act of cleanliness, like I said, is just to get rid of them, just to process them out of your space. I don't know if you can see, but I already have a big pile going of clothes and pillows and things I don't need anymore. I'm sorry if my lamp is encroaching. Let me just fix that. Sorry, it's droopy. It's a droopy lamp. Okay. I always imagine that Sundays will be good days for filming because there are no leaf blowers or anything like that, no trash collection trucks, no, but then again, lots of neighbors are home and doing their own weekend constraints and other considerations like that, so can't do it all at once. Okay, so let's take a little look. In this front pocket, I have these laminated cards that I made for myself when I first went vegan. You really can't make this stuff up. Oh my gosh, I've always been such a neurotic little bunny. So the first one has ideas for eating in. So it's divided into like breakfast foods and beverages, lunch foods, snacks. I guess these are entrees. These are like different types of cuisines, like Indian food. It just says Indian food. What a little kid. And then there are some dessert options and some like candies. Look how big the candy category is. Look how important processed sugar has always been to me. Then the next card is places that you can eat out. I'm going to keep that covered for the most part so that, I'm trying to not give too much like demographic information about myself, like where exactly I live and my real name and where I went to school, things like that. This one just says superfoods. Super silly. Oh, so this is like a shopping list of accidentally vegan products. So, like Campbell's mushroom gravy, Quaker apple cinnamon rice cakes, just different products that are like, again, accidentally vegan. Now I tend to go for certified vegan products, so a lot has changed in the last few years. Oh, what's happening here. I'm getting attached. This always happens. Okay. So we have tomatoes once again. And then sweet peppers. And then we have sweet peppers. Okay, now we're getting into the recipes. So, this one is Romano bean and barley risotto with marinated cherry tomatoes and basil. And see how it shows you all the ingredients that came in your kit. Then it lists them here. So for this one I could just sub out the butter with a vegan alternative and omit the Parmesan cheese. And on the back it shows you the different steps. They do make it nice and easy. Then from the farm, oh, this is not organized well. I'm so embarrassed. These are summer beans. Not a recipe, just out of order. Here we have stir-fried Szechuan eggplant with shishito peppers, garlic chives, and summer cucumber salad. I think I remember this one being really tasty, and I usually don't like eggplant. Summer soba salad with corn and soy mirin dressing. I do keep mirin on hand. It's very good for a lot of different recipes. I'm trying to keep my lamp covered up. Summer corn and vegetable chowder. I love a good chowder. I am a big soup person. Summer bean and mushroom pasta with crispy shallot rings. I would love some of that right now. Also a big pasta person. Crispy eggplant pitas with beluga lentil salad and spiced yogurt. Summer corn and bell pepper pizza with delicious cheese and fresh thyme. Soba noodle salad with cucumber and crispy tofu. This service utilized tofu and soba noodles a lot. Sometimes it seemed like they were struggling to come up with recipes for vegetarians. Certainly ones that were more vegan friendly, like they would do grilled cheese sandwiches and things like that a lot. But when it came to being completely plant-based, it was a lot of soba noodles and a lot of tofu. Maybe that's just because it was like beginner level recipes. Summer ciabatta stew with heirloom eggplants, Romano beans, and farro. summer eggplant and pepper tostadas with lime crema and avocado tomato salsa fresca. Salsa fresca. Like I said, all the recipes that I kept can be made vegan fairly easily. Just substitute like a vegan sour cream, a vegan milk, vegan butter, an egg substitute. nice thing